Hi guys, and welcome back to Movies That Matter with the Viking, and today I'm going to give a quick movie review of The Five Bloods, directed by Spike Lee. And now this film is actually very interesting because it mirrors what's going on in society today. Now of course, the whole incident with George Floyd, Black Lives Matters, and the abuse that black people get in America every single day. This film mirrors that, and it's kind of a teaching lesson towards the abuse that's gone on, not just towards black people, but towards people of different races, of different color, throughout centuries, throughout wars. And I thought this was a very fascinating look at history, and very honest, very brutally honest. Now, it mirrors what's going on today, but racism hasn't just come about in the last few weeks. It's been going on for hundreds of years towards black people in America and all around the world, and even people of other colours as well, and different descents and religion and all that stuff. And it shouldn't be happening, especially in today's world, but that's what's going on, and I'm glad to see people standing up for what's right. But this film, The Five Bloods, is a Netflix film. Now, Netflix are very hit and miss with their films. Some films are good, some films are bad. Their TV shows do a little bit better to kind of, when it seems that it's a TV show and they stretch it out a bit more, there's better writers involved and things like that. The films kind of to be hit and miss, but this film, The Five Bloods, is one of the best films that I've watched in 2020. I know that's not saying much, especially with the coronavirus, and a lot of films have been put on hold. A lot of films haven't come out yet because of the virus. Cinemas were closed down. A lot of films are going towards Netflix or Amazon Prime or Hulu, or just going straight to digital. But of all the films I've seen this year, maybe even of the last year, The Five Bloods is one of the best. Spike Lee is on fire with this film. What's it about? It's about four African American vets battle the forces of man and nature when they return to Vietnam, seeking the remains of their fallen squad leader and the gold fortune he helped them hide. Now, the fallen squad leader is played by Chadwick Boseman, who played Black Panther, of course, but this film does such a great job at mirroring what's going on today. The opening sequence of this film is very brutal. It's actually very hard to watch at times, but it's all real footage, real events that has happened throughout American history, and especially towards the abuse of black people, and then the Americans going into Vietnam to go to war. There's some very horrific shots, videos. It really is hard to watch, and it turns your stomach. There's pictures of dead children, of people being executed on the spot, not just black people but Vietnamese people also. And I love this film because it's very honest. It tells the real story. It doesn't try and sugarcoat anything whatsoever, and it does a good job of telling what's going on today with these characters going back to Vietnam. Of course, they're all a lot older, but it also has flashbacks of them in war in Vietnam as a group going up and fighting against the Vietnamese war people. So the performances from everyone in this film is brilliant, but especially Delroy Lindo. He is brilliant, and he's a very troubled character because he lives with the demons of what he saw in Vietnam during the war. The images of his friends getting killed, of him killing people, of children being murdered, being massacred. And when these men arrive in Vietnam, people know straight away that these are ex-soldiers, that these fought in their country, that they killed their ancestors, their grandparents, their parents maybe, and they're looked down upon by certain people, so it just shows you that they're not looked down upon because they're black men. They're looked down upon by the Vietnamese people because they're US American soldiers that came into their country and killed their people. But it's very different when they go home. They go home and they leave Vietnam War, but they go back home to face racial abuse, no jobs, no money. It's completely a different kind of abuse that they receive. In Vietnam, they're not looked at as black men, they're looked at soldiers. But Delroy Lindo gives off an amazing performance, and I'll be very surprised if he isn't in talks for next year's Oscars as nominated as maybe Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor, whatever way they want to do it, because he actually is extraordinary. Now, Chadwick Boseman he's in this film quite a bit, but he's more of kind of flashback scenes of him being with the group, and then he appears later on in the film also. But he also does a good job. But I love the chemistry between the men involved that go and they look for the gold, they look for the dead remains of their old friend, and there's a very good kind of connection between the core group, and the chemistry between the cast is what makes this work. If the chemistry wasn't there, the film wouldn't work to an extent, but Spike Lee does an extraordinary job. It's a 2.5 hour film, and it has 4 screenwriters also, which is very unusual for a film to have so many writers involved, but it works perfectly. The cinematography is absolutely brilliant. The direction from Spike Lee is brilliant. The story, I was never bored. It doesn't kind of it doesn't get to a time where they could have fast forward this part. No, it works very well, and there's actually a lot of action in this film as well, and very kind of scary action as well. It happens at times where you do not expect. Characters die that you do not expect to happen. Things happen throughout the story that I didn't think was going to happen. I just thought it was going to be a story about these 4 men dealing with their past lives, dealing with what's going on today in the world, but actually a lot of war kind of comes back into their lives. They are soldiers for the rest of their lives. You never retire. Even the Vietnam War ended, but these men are continuing this battle of internal trauma they faced from that war, and then when they go back to Vietnam, these memories are brought back up, but also the war is brought back up to an essence with them. But all in all, The Five Bloods is one of the best films I've seen in the last year. It's a true depiction of what happens in today's society, what happened in past generations' society, and it's definitely worth checking out. For me, The Five Bloods is 5 out of 5. Definitely have a look on Netflix. Sit back and really take in this film. It's very truthful and very honest. Let me know, guys, what you thought of this film. If you have already seen it, if not, go watch it. Come back to this video, have a listen, and let me know what you think. Anyway, guys, until next time, stay positive.